Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Would you find your seat, get comfortable, and we're going to sing our centering song this morning. May I see you with the eyes of love. May I hear you with the ears of love. May I speak with the words of love. May love be in my heart. May I see you with the eyes of love. May I hear with the ears of love. May I speak with the words of love. May love be in my heart. May I see you with the eyes of love. May I hear with the ears of love. May I speak with the words of love. May love be in my heart. May I.
And let us come together in consciousness. There is only one power, one presence, one God, one Spirit, undivided and eternal. God is love. God is the love that fills the universe, the multiverse. And I know that God is the loving kindness. God is that infinite power. God is all-encompassing. God is the power back of everything. And in filling the universe with love, God is like a warm embrace. And we know that God is right here, right now. God is closer than my breath. I know that God is right here, right now. And I know that I am united with Spirit. I am one with God. God and I are one. And what I know for myself, I absolutely know for each and every person hearing my voice. And as we rise in consciousness, we are a light unto each other. And a light into the valley and to the world. And so it is.
And that's Mary Beth Messer. Let's give her some love. Thank you for your beautiful meditation this morning. The loving kindness meditation is always my favorite. And let's say good morning to we got Randy MC and Danielle Tucker here with us today. Good morning. I'm so glad you're with us. I'm Rev Katherine Economou, and it's my joy to welcome you here. For those of you in the room, and for those of you joining us in our virtual room here online, we're so grateful that you decided to join us. Here we are in this glorious fall day. I was saying in my prayer this morning when I prayed in with the team, this month it can't figure out what it wants to be, right? It can't figure out, does it want to be summer? Does it want to be fall? Does it want to be winter? I don't know. It doesn't know. So we're just going to let November be what it is and celebrate every aspect of it and come together in that sense of joy and light together in celebration. If there's anyone who might be joining us for the first time, I want to say good morning and welcome and let you know that we have a guest book outside. We'd love for you to sign. We send out some information about the things that are going on and what's happening here at the center, and it's starting to ramp up. We've got stuff happening, we've got some events and some classes and some things coming back, and so it's really exciting. What I'm finding is that we just want to be with one another, right? It's just so great to just be with one another, to sit together and to be with one another. And that is it doesn't matter what we're doing, whether we're basket making or we're listening to music or we're painting rocks or we're talking about whatever it is, that it's the gift of coming together. And that's the gift of spiritual community. So I'm so glad that we have this opportunity to, once again, be in each other's presences and to support one another and to just live these lives together, right? It just feels so much better. And so we're celebrating that joy, and it's in that joy and that love that I welcome you this morning. And so with that, I think we can move into our song.
Yeah, right. All right, everyone, if you'd like to stand together, we're going to sing this song. If you don't know the words, just dance along, move your body, absorb the music this morning. I am a center of creation. I am a seed planted in the stillness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. I am a center of creation. I am a seed rooted in fullness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. I am a center of creation. I am complete, living in wholeness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. Let's hear it, Randy. Randy MC. I am a center of creation. I am a seed planted in the stillness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God.
That's a new one. I like it. I liked that. That was great. All right, so this is the time when we're going to practice our moment of gratitude. This is our little spiritual practice that we do together every week. I'd love to encourage us all to have a daily practice of gratitude. I had a couple of people, I was doing some outside events this week, and I had a couple people come up to me and say, "Can you teach me how to do gratitude?" And I said, "Can you think of something that you're grateful for?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "There you go. That's all you got to do." And so it's such a simple and easy and transformative practice that I want to make sure that we are allowing ourselves to really steep ourselves in it. So that's what we're going to do. So I invite you to just take a breath. Let's do that one more time. Another nice full breath. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes. I always ground in my gratitude practice by putting my hands on my heart, just resting here for a moment. And today we're going to do the organic version of this. I want you to just set your intention for something to reveal itself to you that you're grateful for. What is it today that's coming to mind that you're grateful for? It could be something big, it could be something little. For me this morning, it's rolling over and having that beautiful warm cup of green tea waiting for me even before I opened my eyes. And the person who put it there without me even hearing them tiptoe in to do it. What is it for you on this day that's calling for some attention and some gratitude? And then you just want to feel that energy of being grateful. Just allow yourself to feel it, and you can feel it in your body. We all know that we carry so much of our emotion in our physical bodies. We carry the negative stuff. Why not carry the positive stuff instead? Let's carry our gratitude in our hearts and in our muscles, in our bones. And so just allowing yourself to feel that, be steeped in it. And then it expands out into the space around you, and so you're sitting in this bubble of gratitude. And so your bubble is going to bump up against other people's bubbles today. You're going to be protected by your gratitude. And so when you're ready, you can come on back. It's that simple. Just pausing, taking a moment to just allow what wants to come forward to have some gratitude. Or something that you want to just bless, even when we take a moment. This is the thing that I love, is that say something happens and a friend does something nice for you. When you take a moment to think of that person doing that act in your gratitude, you're blessing them. You are giving back to that person a blessing of gratitude, which means that they are walking around blessed. And we know what it feels like when we walk around blessed, right? Because we know when we don't feel like we're blessed. But when we are walking around knowing that, having that feeling of being blessed, we're giving such a great gift. And so not only is it something for ourselves to make ourselves feel better, but it's something for us to share with the world. Each of us is a practitioner of light. Each of us is a channel of divine love. And so especially in this month, we're focusing on being that in even greater ways. And so with that, I'm going to invite Mary Beth to come forward for the reading for today.
Our spiritual reading for today is from 365 Days of Richer Living by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker. Titled, Daily I Die to Everything That Is Unlike Good. The Talmud says that unhappy conditions arise when we mistake shadow for substance. Even the valley of the shadow of death causes no fear when we arrive at the consciousness of the psalmist who, from the exaltation of his divine deliverance, proclaimed, "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." We know that goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives, and we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We are ever renewed by the passage of the divine light through our consciousness. The revitalizing, regenerative power of spirit flows from the consciousness of the wholeness into our physical organism and into every act when we give the realization of the divine presence free passage through our thought. I know that every apparent death is a resurrection. Therefore, today, gladly, I die to everything that is unlike the good. Joyfully, I am resurrected into that which is beautiful, enduring, and true. Silently, I pass from less to more, from isolation to inclusion, from separation into oneness. The perfect law of good is operating through me. Joyfully, I accept it. Joyfully, I permit its action in everything I do. I know that my recognition of good is the substance of the good which I recognize, and I know that this good is ever taking form in my experience. It is impossible for me to be separated from my good. So it is.
All right, I want to set up this song just a little bit for Randy. Randy is going to sing one of his originals for us this morning. In case you hadn't heard, he's going to be giving a house concert today at Catherine's house. If you have not experienced a house concert before, this would be a wonderful gift to give yourself. It's an incredible way to experience music and community. It's a very intimate experience. And we are incredibly blessed to have someone as talented as Randy with us. So I hope you'll join us and enjoy one of Randy's originals here.
She sang soprano and I sang tenor in a church choir. Rehearsals were always dry, but I thought she was on fire. One summer night I decided to ask her to give me a chance. We started just as friends and ended up making romance. Who is that girl who caught my eye? I think I want her for the rest of my life. How do I show her how much she means to me? How do I tell her I'm the king and she's the queen? You are my baby, you're my baby girl. Her rings are hidden and it should be forbidden to even gaze at her. She doesn't know when she shows it. There's a living proof of an angel on earth. Though she's a picky eater, I'll feed her anything she wants. I know we're different, but even then she's a 10. I'm a confidant. Who is this girl who caught my eye? I know I want her for the rest of my life. Oh, my darling baby, how do I show her how much she means to me? How do I tell her the king and she's the queen? I can rule the world and I won't feel happy. Inherit all the titles and riches, baby. Put a crown in my head, but I would rather instead finally say what I left unsaid. That you are my angel, open my eyes. I know I want you for the rest of my life. I just might have the thing to show that you mean the world to me. I came, I saw, I conquered, baby. Now will you be my queen?
Oh, I love that. That's Randy MC. I'm looking forward to this afternoon. And we do have tickets. You can see Bonnie after service out at the table. And come on, join us. It's such a beautiful, I'm in a beautiful spot over the hill in Oceanside and Fallbrook. Did I just say Oceanside? I live in Oceanside. I lived in Fallbrook for 18 years. I don't know why I said that. And it's going to be such a lovely afternoon. And so great music, good friends. We're looking forward to it. So here we are, and this month we have our kindness initiative going. You know, after all that's been happening in the world, it really hit me very heavy that I know that what we teach in the Science of Mind works, which means that we can change our relationship to the situations in our lives by changing our attention. And so when we put our attention on something, it expands, right? So when we put our attention on what's wrong in the world and what's wrong with our partners and what's wrong with us and all of those things that the negative stuff that we tell the stories about, what happens? There's more of it. When we put our attention on those positive qualities, on what we want to see happen, when we move in that direction of creativity, that expands. And so this month, we are going to put our attention on kindness. I am not going to put attention on the tickle in my throat, which is about to expand, so we're going to take care of that first. So excuse me for a second. Perfect timing. It's always perfect timing. For anyone who's been here for a while, you know I get a little nervous about the coughing, because when I first came, I used to have these coughing fits that were monumental. But anyways, all right. So what we're doing this month is this. We have our kindness bracelets. I'm wearing them. Everybody get your kindness bracelets. You can take an extra one and give it to somebody else. We've got our kindness stickers. I was passing out kindness stickers all week. Please we've got rolls of them. So take an armful of rolls of kindness stickers. Put it on. Hand it to somebody else. I cannot tell you how every person turns into a kindergartner when you give them a sticker. It's so exciting to have a sticker. Give a sticker out, We have our kindness journals where we are keeping track of doing at least one specific kind thing every day. And I had invited people to share their stories with me, and I got a good one this week, and so I wanted to share it with you as we begin. So, one of the congregants who was here last week sent me an email, and it was Sunday night, actually, at 7 o'clock, and she said, I wanted to let you know I stopped at the grocery store on my way home around 3 o'clock. I was in line with a full cart, and there was a man behind me with one item. I told him to go ahead of me. And then after I had almost all of my items out of the cart on the conveyor belt, a man and his son came behind me with a couple of bottles of soda. I told him to go in front of me. And as I was checking out, paying for my groceries, the cashier held up a $5 bill and said, the man you let go in front of you wanted to give you $5 towards your grocery bill. She said, I was so surprised and blown away. I showed the cashier the bracelet that said, kindness makes a difference, pass it on. He said, wow, I have chills. Maybe this kindness thing works. All right, so there we go. That's our story for the week. And if you have one, please send it to me. I want us to, or you want to come up and share, I'd love that. So we want to continue this, right? Get this energy going. I have this image of this vortex of kindness vortex that we can begin right here in the valley and allow it to move out. And so the other thing that we're doing is we're diving deep within ourselves, right? To look at the ways that we have been, and maybe the ways that we have or have not been kind to ourselves, and how we can maybe be a little bit kinder to ourselves and to everybody around us. So last week I talked about the power of kindness and how it calms conflicts and it opens possibilities and it brings great benefit in our minds and our hearts and our physical bodies to us. But this week we're looking at some of the things that get in the way of being able to express and experience kindness. And one of the biggest things that happens to get in the way of us experiencing and expressing kindness is holding on to old resentments and pains. When we get stuck in a trauma from the past and we don't process it, we're not present with it, we don't acknowledge those old hurts and those pains, what happens is they get stuffed down and we try to put them in the back of the closet, and then they start to fester. And that, festering is insidious, and it sneaks itself through into all of our other experiences and our mindset and the way that we relate to people, and we don't even know that it's operating there. And so it's really important for us to process that old stuff so that we can be present. And we can see that when that happens, when we get kind of in the grip of that, it would be hard to be kind, right? When we're hurt and we're in pain, it's hard to be kind to somebody else when we're wounded. And it's up to us to be brave enough, to be courageous enough to ask for the help that we need when we need it. It's up to us to take responsibility to step forward in a new way, to allow the sources and the support that's all around us to support us, because it's there. You may not see it and you may not believe it, but you are so loved and you are so cared for. And it's not from who you think it's supposed to be. It never is. Help and support comes from different channels and different areas and different ways than you think it should. And the problem is that we're so busy looking for the help from the way that we want it that we miss it hanging out over here and waving at us. Because we're saying, they're not coming. Well, they're standing right behind you. But we don't even expect that someone else could be supportive or someone else could help. but they can because the divine shows up in so many different ways. So my talk today is living in the present. Forgiveness is the doorway to kindness. It's so important for us to revisit the idea of what it means to be present in any one moment and how we can get there, right? Because the present moment is where our spiritual power is. The present moment is where God is within us. The present moment is where we meet the truth of who we are. It's the place where we open to inspiration. It's the place where we realize that we are connected to something greater than we are, than we could ever imagine. And so what happens is these old hurts and these old pains and these things that we haven't forgiven, these things that we're afraid of, they pull our attention, they pull our focus, and they pull us either into the past or into the future. And there's none of us standing right here. So dare I ask, I'm going to be courageous, you're not going to answer out loud, but I'm going to ask, where are you right now? Are you at the breakfast table after having a little fight with your partner? Are you 40 years ago when somebody walked out? Are you worried about next week, what the doctor's going to say? Or can you open your eyes to be present right here and feel your body being supported by the chair? Smell the air that's here in the sanctuary, which is pretty sweet today. There's something bad about the air today. But those are the things that bring you present into this moment, right? When you realize, I am here. My feet are in my feet, my knees are in my knees, my hips are in my hips, my body's in my body. I am looking through my eyes, and I am seeing every one of you, and you are seeing every one of me, and my beloved's online. That's what it takes to be present. And we want to ask ourselves, what is getting in the way of me being present? Where are you traveling to? So there's a story so the book that I'm using this month is Piero Ferrucci's The Power of Kindness. It's such a lovely book. And he's got these amazing stories in, and I wanted to tell you one of them. He says that he had a friend who used to ask people, just as they'd have their question. They said, what's the most important thing in life? Right? Dinner parties or whatever, they would say, what do you think the most important thing in life is? And she would get a range of answers, from health and love and financial security and, trusting yourself and confidence and all those things they think were the most important thing in life. One day she had the idea she would ask her father. So she asked her father, and his answer was simple, calm, spontaneous, with no other comment. He said, to forgive. Now, the story is that her father is Jewish. And his entire family had been exterminated in the Holocaust. Incomprehensible loss and horror that this man saw. He lost his wife, his parents, his wife's parents. He lost children, brothers. He lost everybody in the Holocaust. He emigrated to Australia where he remarried and then had this second family. And so we can not even imagine, right? It's incomprehensible horror, the unbearable pain of that. And yet this man was capable of forgiving. And not only was he capable of forgiving, he realized that it's the most important thing because that was the thing that kept him alive. Because if he was not able to forgive that, he would not have been able to survive. And he knew it. So, I always go back to those big experiences of forgiveness because it reminds us that most of us are not called to forgive on that major of a level. And yes, I'm not negating the trauma that we experience, and yes, people experience trauma, and yes, we've experienced difficult things, and yet, some of us have not, and still have a hard time forgiving, even the little things. We have the capability and the capacity within us to forgive and to move forward when we are ready. One of the most effective ways to move into the present moment is by letting go of the past and practicing forgiveness. So I think it's the most powerful spiritual tool we have in our toolbox. It's a get out of jail free card for us. Not for the other person, for us. It releases us from the bonds that we put ourselves in when we hold a grudge against somebody else. Nelson Mandela shared, he said this, "As I walked out the door toward my freedom, I knew that if I did not leave all the anger, hatred, and bitterness behind, I would still be in prison." Even though his body was not in prison anymore, he knew that he would still be living in prison if he didn't let all of that go. So, a couple reminders about forgiveness today. Forgiveness is not condoning an act. It's a situation or an act. It's forgiveness means that you do not want to continue feeling anger for an old wrong, right? Forgiveness is letting go of that anger, because anger is corrosive and it's destructive, and when it lives inside of you, it's like that pong of negativity within your beingness, in your physical body and in your mind. Forgiveness is also not an act of self-righteousness. It's not sitting on a moral high horse and saying, I am right and you are wrong and you did that. That's not what it is. Forgiveness is making peace with the past and closing old accounts. I love that idea of closing old accounts. Let's clean those up and get rid of those old accounts. You know, what it feels like when you have old things that are open and unresolved, and how amazing it feels when you resolve them. And a lot of times it's done just within our own consciousness, just within our own minds and our own hearts. I'm closing that account. I'm going to forgive that person and let it go, because you know what? I am stronger. I have moved on. I have created my life despite whatever the experience was. All of those things that happen to us so that we grow, that we expand, that we step into our power in a greater way. And I know it doesn't seem like that sometimes, and it's hard to see it. But everything that happens to us is there to remind us that we are part of something greater. We are a bigger part of this life. So, you know, I've been studying, practicing, and teaching about forgiveness for decades. This is one of those topics that, you know, is really key and important. And I've seen and heard people forgiving giant and tiny things in their lives. And what I've realized is that forgiveness is contrary to all logic. It doesn't make any sense. And it calls for our vulnerability. And it's the most magical and healing and transformative practice that we could have. It's a positive quality. It includes joy and faith in it. Faith in ourselves and in others. It may be illogical and surprising, and yet sometimes it leads to bliss, freedom, joy, growth, and expansion. And so let's think about what the alternative is. What's the alternative? Is moving around life with an unforgiving attitude? Everyone knows somebody like this, right? Don't point. Don't do that. No. Everybody knows somebody who's got an unforgiving attitude, right? The grumpy, crotchety, young or older person who just is miserable, and this whole government's doing this, and the city's doing this, and my neighbor's doing this, and they're doing this. Have you heard somebody like that? Just me? Right? Who do you want to be in the world? We have to ask ourselves that. Who do we want to be in the world? Do we want to be that? Living with this kind of attitude, it just brings misery and damage. And so Piero Ferrucci says, compare an unforgiving person to a city whose traffic is completely congested. The roads are blocked, cars can't move and stand waiting with the exhaust running. Fumes are poisoning the air. Garbage can't be collected and lies rotting on the roadside, overflowing in bins. People are frustrated and immobilized. They can't work or communicate with each other. No one enjoys life at all. Such is the state of non-forgiveness. Stagnant, rancor, generating new rancor, and thus blocking vital energy, cramping thought, poisoning life. So when we realize that we are whole beings, right? We say that all the time. We are whole, perfect, and complete, just as we are. You've heard me say that over and over and over again. We are whole. Well, if we realize that we are whole, we can't have one little part that's not forgiving and think that that little part's going to sit in the corner and stay, be good, right? And not think that it's going to affect any other part of our lives. It is. It's going to affect your relationships, and it's going to affect your mind state, and it's going to affect your physical well-being, and it's going to affect your health, and it's going to affect your vitality. What happens when we don't do this work is that it pulls our attention because we have to do that work. Life wants us to do the work to be able to let it go. Now, we all know that forgiveness is important. We all know that we're supposed to do it. It was part of Jesus' teaching. The disciples said to him, Jesus, how much are we supposed to forgive? 7 times? And Jesus looked at him and he said, 70 times 7 times. That is what you are to forgive. And they were like, okay, first we have to forgive, and now we have to do math? What do you mean by that? 70 times 7? Come on, can you just give us a straight answer? Can you imagine the disciples being like, can you just give us a straight answer? What is that, Well, what does that mean? 70 times 7 means a lot. Okay, that's the whole thing. It means a lot, which means that we are taught that we are to have a forgiving nature, a forgiving heart. We're supposed to just keep doing it. However much you're doing it, you need to do it more, is basically what Jesus was teaching us, right? But most of us were taught how to forgive, mostly through issues with our siblings, right? I was writing this, I was putting this together, and I'll tell you, I went exactly back to the time when my sister took an indelible Sharpie marker and marked up my favorite baby doll all over her face. Still feel it. I'm 50, I can still feel it. Mom got us together. Elaine, say you're sorry. Sorry. Kathy, say you forgive her. I want to give her what? No, forgive her. Forgive you. Fine. Right? Isn't that how we're taught? That's how we are taught. We are forced to say the words. We don't know what that means, right? And I was so angry about that. I was like, she does that to me and I have to be nice to her? Are you crazy? What is that, parents? But that's how we're taught, right? We're not taught how to forgive. We're not taught how this actually works, and it's really not easy. When we're filled with anger and resentment, it's hard to get there. But there are a couple of things to keep in mind as we practice forgiveness. And the first one is this. You must recognize the wrong that you felt. It has to be acknowledged and recognized. Sometimes the terrible suffering you may not have confronted yet. And when we're talking about great trauma, I'm going to encourage everybody to work with a professional on it, right? If you have a big, huge trauma that you've experienced, please get with a psychologist or a therapist or a minister or a practitioner, somebody who can really support you in that work. For the rest of us, we need to allow ourselves to feel the wrong that we felt. We can't pretend that nothing happened or that it was just okay. We can't skate over it. If you've been hurt by something someone said or something someone did, if you feel offense or offended, you need to allow yourself to feel it, to acknowledge it, and to really mine it for what it's trying to show you and tell you. Because when we gloss over it, it goes back into that closet. Still there. But unless we take it out and we look at it and we allow ourselves to feel it. And I know that it's hard to feel our pain, and it's hard to acknowledge when we're not up in joy and in excitement. And religious science, we love to party, we love to be positive. We know God is good all the time. God is good all the time, and there is great joy and great bliss for you, and sometimes you have to feel your pain. We can't avoid it. And so when you can acknowledge it, we can begin to put it in perspective, and then start to move into that place of wanting to let it go. Because we don't want to carry that around forever. I don't want to be that mad. I don't like myself when I'm that angry. I have really bad angry face. It's not pretty. I don't like it. I can't sleep well. My stomach gets all, I don't like it. When you look into the roots of your anger, it can show those areas that may have something to forgive. It's like looking under the rocks of old hurts to see what's under there. We're more angry because a part of us that's hurting hasn't been acknowledged, heard, listened to. If we can feel into it and allow it to be, we can begin to move in the direction of letting it go. And sometimes that happens without us having to do anything. The second thing I want to remind us is that the goal is, and again, in the perspective of the level of the trauma, we want to try and find some empathy for the other person. When we can try to understand, maybe from their perspective, why they did what they did, or what their perspective was, their motivation was, we take everything so personally, and I don't think it's always personal. Even when something happens to us. I don't think the other person always thinks, I'm going to get her now. Right? I don't think it's that. I think that we bump up against each other a lot in this life, and I think sometimes we take offense to it. We take it personally. And our issues and someone else's issues kind of tangle a little bit. And so, if we can place ourselves in their shoes and understand that their intentions and their suffering, as well as ours, we can begin to find it easier to forgive. And did you know that forgiveness and empathy both live in the same place in the brain? I thought that's interesting. Forgiveness, the place where we forgive and the place where we feel empathy are both the same place in our brain. And so if we can shift from being the one who was wrong to being curious about what happened, again, we can learn how to forgive. That leads us to radical transformation. So my main point today is that we can't be kind while we carry the weight of our resentments, or while we remain too rigid to ask for forgiveness, to ask for it. Not if our emotions are colored by guilt or vindictiveness. We can only be kind when the past no longer dominates us, when the past is no longer driving the bus, when we can be present in this moment. Ernest Holmes says, that how often we condemn when we should forgive. How often we censure when we might praise. What untold grief of heart might be relieved by words of cheer and forgiveness. We should emulate this divine lesson and forgive all, that our hearts may be free from the burden of our own condemnation. Our hearts could be free. And yet it seems like sometimes that forgiveness is impossible. Sometimes it feels like it's just too much. It's not something that we can do. And I'll tell you, there are moments when it is too much for us humans to do. And that's when we have to give it to God. And what we do is we go into that place and we find it in different ways. But that place, that secret place of the Most High within us, that sacred sanctuary of your heart, that place where you have never been hurt, harmed, touched, or violated. There is a place within each of us that no matter what we've experienced in life that has not been hurt, harmed, touched, or violated. And when we can move into that space, we can give our pain and our hurt over to God. We can allow that divine love that has loved us into being to transmute and transform it. And it does. God will show up. But we have to find our place into that space, right? And some people find it through meditation. Some people find it through chanting. Some people find it through exercise. Some people find that place through communing in nature. Where's that place for you where you can remember that you're part of something greater? When you can remember that something loved you into being, where you can realize that no matter how hard it is right now, you are being supported and sourced, and you can just allow it. God to work in you. If we can get there, even for a moment, if we can just touch it, a breath, the door opens. That doorway opens and you can move into a place of starting to let the past go and move into a place of forgiveness. And what happens then is compassion rises for yourself and for the world. Because you realize as you go through this and you start to heal those things, you start to recognize that in the eyes of everyone you meet, everyone is carrying a hurt and a trauma and a pain in our own individual ways. Everyone has something that they are holding in the corner. And if we can heal our own, and create a space of compassion and love for ourselves. And we can see it in somebody else. We can hold the space that they can do it for themselves too. And then we won't have dark corners. We'll have places of connection at the heart. We'll have an experience of something that's true. That we can be with one another in the present moment, and we can be channels of kindness and not be acting from what was, and not be hiding from what hurts us. We can step forward clearly, fully, powerfully. That's the power of this work. And so yes, it's hard to look at our stuff, and yes, it's hard to think about forgiving that old junk, but think about, it's like cleaning our closets. Do you know how much I hate cleaning my closet? Do you know how many times I do it? A lot. Right? And you know why I do it? I hate it? It's because it's so much work. There's so much I got to decide about. There's so many things I have to look at and put in the different piles. But think about when it's done. How clear and organized and full. I'll tell you, when I clean my closet, I get like energized and excited. That's a very strange example for me to pull in at the end of my talk. But that's the one you're going to remember. And that's why. So cleaning out our old closets of our old junk is going to free us and allow us to experience life with more joy. And that's my wish for you. Because in this month, when we want to create kindness in this area, we want to be a light of joy and light into our own lives and into the community. We need to start with ourselves. And so I know this week that you are stronger than you think you are more capable, you are connected so great that you move into that space, that sacred sanctuary, and hand over that which you've been carrying to the divine and allow it to take it away. And we can move into forgiveness, which will allow us to move into kindness in even a greater way. And so I see it for each and every one of us. And so it is.
Thank you, Catherine. All right, this song is from Stevie Wonder's masterpiece album, Songs in the Key of Life. And I think it will fit our theme this month very well. Here's your friend, the announcer. I have serious news to pass on to everybody. What I'm about to say could mean the world's disaster. Could change your joy and laughter into tears and pain. It's that love's in need of love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. You know that hate's going round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. joy you treasure, then you'll hear me when I say, don't you know that love's in need of love today? Don't delay, send yours in right away. You know that hate's going round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. You know that love's in need of love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. You know that hate's going round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far.
That's Danielle Tucker and Randy MC. Awesome. Thank you. So this is a time of our service when we have the opportunity to participate in sacred giving. I'm going to invite our ushers to come forward and say thank you to everyone. You know, it's such an interesting moment in the life of a community. I was talking to a couple people this week and who were talking about how churches just always talk about money. They always talk about money, you know, and I'm sitting there in a circle of people like, yeah, well, you know, we have to keep the lights on. They didn't know I was a minister at the time. And so I'm just going to remind us that we are, you know, that we are here to begin again, to create a spiritual community, to rebirth ourselves in this new way that's going to feed and nurture and support each of us, to call back all those who are wanting to continue to remain connected to our community, and to strengthen our technology, which we're ordering our stuff this week. We're so excited to get moving in this direction. And our operations could use a little bit of love today. And so I'm just going to remind you that we're so grateful for everyone who gives on a regular basis, and to think about how maybe you could send in your offering when you're not here. Maybe you could hit that donate button on our website if you're not going to be at the center that Sunday, just to make the commitment of being supportive of what we're doing in terms of rebirthing this community together. And so we're so grateful. And just know that we're building it together. It's not us and them, it's all of us and how we're showing up in the world. And so I just want to say thank you, and let's take our offering and place it upon our hearts. And just realize that we are each part of that divine flow, that as we give to that which we want to see expand and grow, as we seed that which we want to see become stronger in the future, I know that each of us is seeding the truth of our abundance, of our prosperity, of our connection to the infinite source and support. That we don't hold back and shrink, that we expand and breathe and grow into the fullness and the wholeness and the abundance of the life that we have come here to live. And so I know that this offering is representative of that we give to this vision of Center for Spiritual Living, being a light in this valley unto all those who can be healed, served, supported, and guided by this message. And know that they find us easily and effortlessly as each of us has come to that place to find the divine within ourselves. And so I bless it, I give thanks for it. And simply knowing God in all of it. And so it is. And so please join me as we say our affirmation of abundance together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. Yes.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
We are so blessed with our music team. Oh my goodness. All right. So announcements. I'm going to do them quick. Book study Wednesday morning, 10 to noon. Julie Nims, Ann Woodward, ongoing. Our men's ministry meeting Wednesdays, both online and in person at Journey's Restaurant, Reverend Michael Summers. Our Sisters in Spirit group is meeting on the third Thursday of the month at 9 a.m. in person at Journey's Restaurant. Our community connection continues Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. Come on for an hour of conversation and meditation with me and friends. Okay, here we go. Thanksgiving Eve service is happening this year. Thanksgiving Eve, 7 p.m. in the room here. We are so excited to get back. This is one of our favorite services of the whole year. It's such a sweet thing. And let me tell you, come, get prayed up, and then have Thanksgiving. It's great. And you know what? We're going to throw caution to the wind. We're doing our pie social. So we're going to do it. I'm sorry, we're doing it. I'm all about the snacks. You know it. All right, so we have a pie potluck, which means bring pie. Everybody brings a pie. We cut them all up, and everybody eats a piece of everybody's pie. It's really so fun. So plan to join us on Thanksgiving Eve at 7 o'clock. Living the Science of Mind, our new class, a 3-week class with practitioners Beth Haas and Charlene Kusner, starts this Tuesday. 3-week class, Living the Science of Mind, tools for walking the spiritual path, just in time for the holidays. Wink, wink. All right, so this is a 3-week enrichment class to learn tips and tools to deepen your walk with the Science of Mind philosophy. Specific tools to illuminate our spiritual path and how to stay the course, even in the midst of busyness and drama. Okay, so Tuesdays, the 16th, 30th, and December 7th. So sign up out here Tuesday night, 6 o'clock. All right, November's Kindness Month here. Grab your bracelets, grab your stickers, grab your journal. 30 days of kindness. If you didn't start tomorrow. Who cares? I'm not counting. 30 days of kindness will make a difference in your life. So grab a journal, grab a bunch of them, because I made a ton of extras, and you can hand them out to people. And say, here, you want to change your life? Do kind things for our month, and then let me know what it is like. Okay, so then today we're doing Kindness Rocks. Our own Lauren Crossway is going to help us in the social hall right after service. We're going to paint Kindness Rocks, little positive statements, and then you put hashtag CSLTV on the back, and you take them and you put them around town somewhere. And you let someone find them. And what I love to do is when we do it, I'm going to encourage you to place it somewhere and take a picture of where you place it, and then find someone to help you put it up on Instagram. Just find someone to help you put it up on Instagram, right? Or you can have me help you, or I have my daughter do it for me. So that's what we do. So then we share where we've all gone, where we put our rocks, right? Again, we're creating this vortex of kindness. And so let's see, so join us. It's just going to be about 20 minutes, a half hour. We're going to go paint some positive things on some rocks and have some coffee. Remember, we've got coffee, so we can have coffee, we can hang out, and start to spread the kindness. And then we've got our own Randy MC concert today at 3 o'clock at my house over in Fallbrook. And so buy your ticket, you get your directions. And he's got his EPs available. Let me see it. Let me show it. Oh my goodness. He's got his own EP. Do you know how big a deal this is? Give it up for Randy MC. I heard it online, but it's adorable. And so these are for sale. How much are they?
$10.
$10 outside.
I'll sell them after postage.
Yeah, he'll sell them after. Or you could come and hang out with us up in the hills in Fallbrook this afternoon and hear some of his music and just have a lovely afternoon with us. And so with that, I think I'm done. I think I can pray now. There's a lot going on here, and we're so excited as we move into the holidays and we start to have that energy of more things happening. It's so fun to be together. And so just coming together in consciousness here and just taking a breath. How good it is to remember the Infinite One, that divine source of all life that is God. In, through, and as all things ever present, the spirit of life and love that is God itself moves and breathes itself into being everywhere and always and always. And it is here in this moment, in this day, in this breath, in this word, as we step forward knowing that we are each connected to that infinite love, that infinite source of creative energy, that infinite presence of the One. And each of us are a channel of that divine light and love into the world, into our own experience, into our lives, shining that light in those dark corners to allow for that which wants to be surrendered to be let go of. No longer are we controlled by those old wounds, those old hurts, those old pains. That we can move into a space of being present in this moment, empowered, connected to the core of who we are, and step forward from that place. And so there is joy, and there is peace, and there is kindness, and there is love, and there is light. And this moves into every aspect of our being, in our minds, our hearts, into every relationship, into our work, into our connections, into the days, the pathway of our days. That we are carried and supported, we are comforted and brought forth to all that which we need, and sharing our gifts with others, allowing ourselves to be fully expressed. And so I know that anything that gets in the way of that falls away with the light of the divine shining upon it. I know that we are each empowered and supported, infused with that vitality, that wisdom, and that knowing. Guided, guarded, supported, and loved is the truth of our being. And so I claim that and I call it forth on this day. And know that as we move into this week, we move into a space of being supported completely and allowing this divine life to flow so powerfully and beautifully forth. So I bless it, I give thanks for it, I celebrate it, I honor it. And with a grateful heart, I simply surrender my word and allow it to be, knowing that it is so. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you've got to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle.
wants to fall away, and allow kindness to pour itself forth. And so it is. Happy Sunday, everybody. Have a great day.